Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do on this spectacular Sydney spring day is to go for a walk and talk and have a chat to you about a book. And the book that I've selected for today's episode is entitled Stop Walking on Eggshells. This book has a dual authorship of Paul Mason and Randi Kreger, and it was published on the 1st of December 2020, back in the days of COVID. So let's see what we can learn from this book, what we can pick out, what morsels we can grab and incorporate into our inventory of knowledge, skill, wisdom, and potential power. So the first message to come from this beautiful book is that love shouldn't feel like a landmine. One of the most haunting truths this book reveals is that when you love someone with BPD, borderline personality disorder, you may start confusing volatility with passion. And Mason gently but powerfully dismantles this myth, saying that love shouldn't make you flinch. You shouldn't have to rehearse your sentences in your head before speaking out and sharing them. If you find yourself constantly scanning the room, wondering which version of your partner you'll meet that day, one thing that you need to understand and to appreciate is that this is not love. That's survival mode. The author also goes on to talk about the fact that their disorder is not your responsibility to manage or to fix. Empathy without barriers and boundaries becomes self-destruction in the end. Many people trapped in these dynamics fall into the role of caregiver, fixer, peacekeeper, hoping their love will heal the terrible chaos. This book helps one see that enabling someone's destructive behaviour, even unintentionally, only deepens the dysfunction. You can support someone with BPD, but you cannot sacrifice your sanity to save them. It doesn't work that way. And as the author reminds us, it never has. The author gives you permission and says that you are allowed to have a voice and to use that voice. One of the most powerful chapters in this book walks readers through assertiveness, how to speak your truth without fear. And it reminds us that shrinking yourself to avoid conflict isn't peace, it's self-erasure. And it reminds us that over time it'll cost you your absolutely entire identity if you're not careful. This is a heavy book, this is a heavy topic, and I'm kind of thankful that I'm going through this book and talking about it, because it is something that not very many people talk about. It is one of those taboo subjects. Another message from this wonderful book is that emotional manipulation often wears the mask of love. Very, very sad indeed. From gaslighting to guilt tripping to threats of self-harm, this book unpacks how borderline personality disorder driven behaviours can actually trap partners in a cycle of guilt, fear and obligation. Mason doesn't villainize those with BPD. He humanizes them. But he also makes it very, very clear that compassion must also have and express a spine. Love that is weaponized isn't love at all. The next point that comes from this book is absolutely beautiful as well, where it reminds people that their life matters too. In the end, this book isn't just about understanding someone with BPD. It's about remembering that your story is just as important as theirs. This book gives permission to want more than just making it work. This book gives permission to walk away, not out of hate, but out of a deep, arching love and respect for yourself and for your contribution and potential contribution to the world. So there you go. What a powerful, powerful story. A very sad story to talk about, and to think that there may be people out there in relationships with people who are suffering from borderline personality disorder, and with them, with their suffering, they also have a ripple effect that impacts every single person, both directly and indirectly in their social orbit. And it can impact those people in a brutally negative way. So once again, whilst it's important to have patience, this author also reminds readers that other people's problems shouldn't end up becoming our problems. On other videos, I've often said that sooner or later, if left unattended and if you don't have the boundaries, other people's problems, other people's issues end up becoming inherited by you. Their generational issues, the things that have happened not in even our time and space, end up finding their way into our relationships and our lives, and bringing not only us down, but our partners, our children, and other people as well. So the key message to understand, in summary, is that love shouldn't feel like a landmine. You don't need and you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells and trying to figure out how the other person is in order to communicate with them in an appropriate way. You should be free to communicate authentically and without a mask, and to understand that their disorder is not your responsibility to manage, and you indeed have the right and are allowed to have a voice and to use that voice without fear or trepidation, and to understand and to see through the fact that emotional manipulation often wears the mask of love, and to most importantly understand that each person has a calling, each person has a responsibility to serve God with all their heart, mind and soul, to glorify God with what they do, and to love their neighbour. But there must be a limit that one needs to apply so that they don't destroy their being or erase themselves and become a non-entity. A very powerful, powerful book. And as I say, it's a book that I deliver today with an absolutely heavy heart, knowing that potentially there are people who are in these types of relationships, trapped until the day that separation happens and not being able to do anything whatsoever. So take care everybody, yasas, bye for now, and we'll chat again soon.